really hog my internet here and we're going to see how well this goes because who knows? I think my computer is already getting up there. Okay, looks like we're finally live. No fancy t-shirt today, no fancy mug, just the basics. So, funny story. When I started doing the Facebook Live, it was partly because of Emma's college schedule. My in my head tagline was, on Wednesdays we go nowhere, so we do a Facebook Live. But guess what? New semester, new term, whatever they call it. And Emma's classes for the next bit, 9 a.m. on Wednesday morning. And I'm like, I got someplace to be. Time for Ron to pull some parent duties. Oh, Ron's boss, he's starting late this morning. I know, right? Okay, so what do I normally talk about? If you're new, I'm Andrea. I own a little quilt shop. You can see it behind me. I don't have any new products to show you today to sell you to make you buy, because of this whole global pandemic thing. I keep ordering things and they keep not arriving yet. I do finally have word that 3 of the orders that I've placed recently to restock some items are going to be here next week. So they left various parts of Canada this week and are getting here next week. So totally distracted by email. Notice that just came up. So no, don't answer that yet. So stuff's on the way, and I have stuff that was supposed to be here in November even, and December, things like fabric, new fabric collections, various fabrics that were just like basics and odd things that I'm like, ooh, customers are gonna like that. Put it in the cart. Everything's backed up everywhere, especially fabric. They ran out of fabrics, and I mean, they're having to make some of this from scratch. They way over in Asia and then get it over here, and the shipping containers just are not leaving as fast as they used to because they're not, it's not like the demand isn't there. Demand is too high and there isn't enough people anymore. They're either sick or places are running at 1/4 capacity to make sure people don't get sicker, and that's just the way it is. Just the way it is. Everybody's super patient now, which is great. So that leads me to talk about a few things. I do have my notes. If you're new, I always have notes. Usually it's on a sticky, but this time it's on my planner. And one of the questions I asked in one of our Facebook groups where we just hang out, Liz, you made it on time and I have nothing new to show you, but you don't care. That's great. We will hang out together. So I have a group attached to my Facebook page where we just hang out and chit chat about quilting or other stuff, or stuff that doesn't really fit on my regular business page, because you try to be all businessy, right? So on the weekend I asked, what other hobbies do you have? And I swear 98% of the responses were knitting. I can't knit for beans. I mean, I can knit, but I knit badly. I don't like knitting. I'm left-handed. I know how to knit left-handed and right-handed, so I'll just transfer it from one needle to the other side and then I'll transfer it back again. Makes a perfect stockinette stitch, but that's all I can do, that or a purl, and I can't increase or decrease, and I just hate it. Just don't like it. I can do a rib, but it's been a while. If pressed, if I had to do a yarn craft, it would probably be crochet. I would rather crochet than knit. Crocheting, I can handle. I can make a granny square. I can make a few granny squares. I can do sometimes the finer stuff. Oh, funny story. So when I was little, when I was slightly shorter than I am now, I spent a lot of my time at my mother's parents, and my mom is the oldest of 7, and her youngest siblings are all around my age. So I have, like, my Uncle Timmy was born, and then I was born, and then my Aunt Tammy was born. So they all just kind of lumped us in together. That's the closest thing I had to siblings at the time. So Tammy took up crochet from the Reader's Digest Handicrafts book. Does anybody remember that? The big ass thick book of all the crafts you could think of that were like sewing and quilting and knitting and crochet. And we poured through that, and she took right to, I like the sewing chapter. Even then we were like 12 or something, maybe 10. And she started with the Irish lace crochet, and let me tell you, that's probably why they had kids do it way back in the industrial age and had to make laws about no child slavery, because she has tiny little hands and she can make these tiny little crocheted pieces out of the basically the cotton thread, the crochet cotton. Yeah, so I'm like, you can have that hobby. I'll go over here with the sewing. So Tammy, if you're watching, good crochet stuff. Feel free to post the pictures. I will share them. So everybody talked about hobbies, and one of the new hobbies I have, well, I suppose it's not really new because I have my other grandparents made me a dollhouse when I was little, and I still have that dollhouse. It's homemade. It's not the right scale, but I love tiny things. And I say this in quilting, I love tiny things. So my mom got me this little set. If you've ever seen the ads for them on Facebook or wherever in your internet travels for the mini dollhouse rooms, my mommy got me one for Christmas. And I did finish it. And it is, so everything in this you had to put together. And that hat keeps falling off. Because I mean, they're using a bead for the little thing here. Bead. It's a little tiny. I'm going on 2 devices today, seeing how I can broadcast to Twitter at the same time for my Twitter friends. Oh, my wall is crooked. We don't care though. So that's my latest hobby, is making tiny things, and I had to make this little tiny dust cover for it as well. So, and I had to make, little tiny rug. I had to make this little tiny armoire and the little dresses that hang in it, and good morning, Mother, and the little tiny coat hangers. So I had a lot of fun with that. It was super awesome. I needed to get some batteries. It's wired for a little, you get to wire it with little LED lights, so I could turn on the lamp. And this particular kit had a noise activated control, so I'll be able to clap on and clap off the little lights in my little dollhouse room. Super jazzed about that. So all distracted again. So let me know what hobbies you have other than knitting, because I know y'all knit. The other reason I asked was I got started in tell them how the armoire lights up. I just did. Well, it's the little light next to the armoire. If the battery pack is in behind the little dresser, it's so cute. So the other thing is, before I started a quilt shop, way back in the end of the 90s, I had a craft store that was, sold craft supplies. This was before the big rise of like Michael's in Canada and big chains, and even slightly before the Dollarama came, because that's partly what canned my business back then. But I ran it in my house, didn't know what I was doing. But I was super crafty. Some of my kids were little. Well, all the kids I had at the time were little, and we were doing like guides and stuff, girl guides. And Sunday schools and things. So I was crafty up to here. So it was just like a generic craft store with wood parts and paint and beads and felt and doohickeys to glue together and stuff. So that kind of stuff is right in my element, and I super love. It's right before scrapbooking exploded too. But what I really like is paper crafts, and what I've been doing lately is getting into my planner. It's nice to feel nice and organized, and you can feel nice and organized and pretty. See, it's all pretty. Nothing's hardly filled in, but it looks good. See, it looks really good. And it just makes me happy. Take off that sticky note. You can see next week. See, I've already written in. Do my Facebook Live next week. So there is that. And that week's all magenta and pink. So there's that. So I like to do paper crafts. Cut things apart, glue them back together. Kind of like quilting. There you go. Oh, yeah. And in the little miniature room thing, there was a couple of pieces where they said, oh, you can just glue this. And I was like, screw that. It's too hard to glue. I'm going to sew it. See, there's this little dress that was just laying on the bed, and then there's these little pillows. I glued that pillow. There were some of them I actually sewed, because I like to sew little things. So I just sewed it instead. So you tell me all about the stuff you like. And honestly, I don't know why I like minis, because my eyes are so bad now. I have to take my glasses off to do it, and I'm like this far away. I'm going to Let me glue this. Anyway, it's very satisfying, even if it sort of gives me a headache. I have a Christmas one too. That one's still a hot mess. It's half put together though, so I'm super happy with how it's going. I like to spread out, make a huge mess while I'm creating, and then tidy it all up after I'm done. So there's that. And I wrote my list for the live on my page, so I have to go back to my planner. And I just want to point out these super cute tea stickers. Have a cup of tea. Okay, let's talk hobbies. I did that. Okay. So the other things I wanted to talk about, since we don't have stuff to sell, because it's not here yet, and I'm still working on getting things on the website. So I should lead into that topic. I have a lot of people concerned about how business is, because you hear the news about businesses going under, businesses are having a tough time. Support your local business, keep your money locally and home. And everybody I talked to, I've been doing some, since we are in the orange zone, can't let you in because it's in my house. It's supposed to be single household bubbles. Even though I'm retail, it's still in my house. So the retail guidelines are for officially retail, not in your house retail. I had to kind of infer that. So I have been going out to the driveway to do transactions, hand deliver parcels right to your car. Somebody needed to see a piece of fabric. So under lockdown in Orange, since I don't have people coming in the shop, I have more time to work on other things like administration, like the website, like ordering, like getting back to my quilting. So it's more than one day a week. I actually quilted 2 days on the weekend, paid for it yet on Monday, pretty sore. Yeah, that was no fun. So when people pick up a quilt, yeah, I'm going to take it out to their car. I'm not just going to leave it in the porch, because we do porch pickups. If you order something online and you choose local pickup, nice process we have there. I put everything you ordered in a bag with your receipt. The bag, I write your name on the bag, and on the back porch, in a nice and covered and safe porch, safe from the elements. We prop the door open during the day, and everything is in a bin, and you see like half a dozen bags there, and just pick the one with your name on it. But if it's a big quilt, I'm not gonna do that. You're gonna like toot your horn and bring it. So everybody asks how business is doing, and actually it's doing pretty good. Even with just the online ordering, it's still doing good. And I'm catching up in the quilting. So that's doing good, because I know too, when people are able to go out again, fabric is hard to purchase online. You really need to see it in some cases, especially if you're trying to match things. So a lot of people are just waiting until it's open again. And then they all come in and they just buy everything. And they're waiting for new stuff too. So in the meantime, everything I'm doing here is just fine. I don't have to pay rent. That's the biggest expense for a business. So we're totally fine. So, you can breathe a sigh of relief over that. And I'm getting a chance to get caught up on things, because I've got like lists upon lists, spreadsheets, lots of spreadsheets. Oh boy, I love my spreadsheets. And it just gets me caught up on other things that you have to do when you're running a business, and which you can do while the business is open, but there's a lot of interruptions. And for somebody like me who has ADD, oh boy, the interruptions throw me off like a lot. So this fall, I would say if I don't get it done before the shop opens, it's not getting done the rest of the day. So I usually start work, sometimes as early as 8:30, sometimes 8, unofficially. I mean, if you're in bed and you haven't gotten out yet and you're scrolling through social media and you start answering messages, and some of them are customer messages, does that technically count as work? I don't know. It's not work if you love it though, right? Because I tell people all the time, why work 40 hours a week for someone else when you could work 80 hours a week for yourself? It's way more fun. I used to do tech support. This is way more fun. So anyway, so there's that. So the other question people have is about credit cards, about purchasing online and then purchasing in person. So one of the things is, if you do have to purchase something when you come by and we meet out in the yard, I feel like, remember those diners where you could drive up and then order on like the drive-in speakers? Hello, hello. That's my Charlie Brown person. not inspiration, imitation. I just can't. Imposter thingy. I don't know. Missed a word there. Can't think of the word. I know it starts with M. Impression. That's the one. Okay. Somebody posted on Facebook about how when you get older, you just can't think of words anymore. And I'm like, every day is charades in our house. Can't think of a word. Sounds like impression. Yes, Charlie Brown impression. So I have a square card reader, which is handy. It has a little slot if you have to stick the card in and read it, and it works with my iPad. It has the little tap thing, so we can tap when we're out in the yard, and it works because the Wi-Fi is at this end of the house, and it extends to the driveway. Technology is so fantastic. So we can do that out in the yard. And some people either call ahead, or they message me, or I prefer it if you go through the online cart, which is my next thing, because some people, they'll call and they'll say, I want this, do you have it? And I'm like, yeah, it's on the website. Okay, what's easiest for you? Okay. Honestly, what's easiest for me is if you go through the website and order it through the shopping cart. Because yeah, my mom said, I'm losing nouns, I'm getting older. You're my mom, you're still older. Anyway, nothing like starting the day roasting your mom or her roasting you. It's a roastaholic. Okay, so ordering online. So if you can't find it on the website, that's one thing. I'll make accommodations. Some things don't show up because they don't have a picture, but I can send you a direct link and then you can purchase it that way. And then I do the thing where I print off your order, I fill the order, I bag it up really nicely, and then I come back on my end on the website. There's an admin area in the back end, and I just click a button that says, okay, this order has been filled, and it magically sends you an email that says, hey, your order's been filled. You can come pick it up now with pickup directions, which is great. So the thing with the credit cards is credit cards are magic. Nobody knows how they work. Lots of people, when they call, they're like, can I just give you my credit card number? I'm like, well, you can, but when I do the order up for you, I'm just typing it in the website as if I were you. So it's the same amount of work. Like, it still goes over the internet. And I used to work at a place where they had shopping cart software and things. One of the tips, you as a consumer, if you see HTTPS and like a little lock sign in the URL bar where the web address is, if there's a little lock there that's nice and secure, everything's all encrypted, and your credit card information is safe when you purchase online. And I had somebody who needed to update their credit card because they had a subscription. So they're like, do I just give you my credit card number and you can update it? No, because I don't see it. Yeah, you're purchasing online, and even if you're even at Amazon, it says save my card. Amazon, nobody there can see what your card is. I can't see what your card is when you purchase out of my shop. Yes, Christina, I do ship. I have a flat rate shipping of $15 and free shipping over $150. So you could get together with some of your friends if you wanted. Sometimes it takes me a day to get to the post office, but other than that, yes, we totally ship. We've been shipping for ages. The craft shop that I talked about before, I think about 50% of my business was online, and I did this before Amazon was huge, before you could spin up a website really easily. There was no shopping cart software. It was hilarious. And the web archive still has copies of the site, which is like you email me, tell me what you want, and we figured it out from there. So yeah, credit card safety. So the other thing with credit cards is somebody will put an order in and then they'll say, oh, I forgot something. Can you just add it to my order? I can't bill your card because I don't have your card info. So you have to go through and place another order to buy another thing. And people say, oh, I trust you. And it's not a matter of trust. It's a matter of security, because that's just how these things are built. When they build software, they have to build it with the assumption that if somebody hacked in, or if somebody was legitimately logged in as an admin and made, it's to prevent even the site owner from making a mistake or having access to things that they shouldn't. So I don't have a list of your credit cards. No way. There's nothing in the back end that I can just say, ping this credit card again. I can't do that, because let me do that would not be safe. Really would not be safe. So the buying stuff online is actually incredibly, incredibly safe. It's safer than handing your credit card to the waiter at a restaurant and then the waiter goes away halfway across the restaurant to where the thing is and types in your stuff because you can't see him at the desk and he might be, oh, I'm just going to copy this number down. I'm going to use it later. It's the same as if you call me up and you say, I really don't want to use the website for whatever reason. I'm going to give you my credit card number and I have to write it down. As soon as I process your order and it's paid and I've run your credit card, I take that piece of paper, I scribble all over it, I rip it up into tiny pieces, I completely destroy it. So even if somebody went through my garbage, they cannot tell what it is. If I had my stove going, I would put it in the stove and burn it because that's the secure thing to do. So, back to the subscriptions. The lady who had a subscription and her card has expired or something, there's a spot on my website when you have an account, you can just go there, you can update the credit card yourself and put in a new one. If you wanted to change the credit card for your next order, which was super handy. I mean, just like when you're at Amazon, it says which credit card you want to do. That is saved at it's not saved anywhere on my site, it's saved at the credit card processor's site, which is actually Square, the same thing that I use in person. So when you're buying online, it's just the same as tapping this in person, technically, logistically. There's a few extra steps, but it's my big general non-techie explanation. Oh. Okay, so we talked about the three things. Hobbies, business is pretty good, and credit cards. So if you have any questions about any of those, let me know. And we're 20 minutes in. I think that's long enough. I'm using up all our bandwidth. So I'm going to wrap it up. And hopefully by the time next week rolls around and we have next week's Facebook Live, there will be some stuff in. I know one of them is expected by Thursday. One parcel is expected by Friday. The other one, they just gave it to the carrier last night. And it's coming from Alberta. So all this stuff comes from my west. As you know, I try to shop as Canadian as possible. So I have multiple suppliers all over Canada, most of them Ontario and further. So that's that. One of those is the Glide supplier. Another one is the Aurifil. What was the other one? Cutting mats, that's it. Large cutting mats are coming. I was pleasantly surprised. I talked about the cutting mats last weekend and I can get the extra large ones, the 24 by 36. I thought I had to order a box all in one color. They come in assorted colors, so I am super happy about that. They're $50, which is a hugely good price for the biggest cutting mats you can get. And with that, I'm going to sign off. I will see you all next week, if not sooner, maybe. And after this, I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do, likely sit at my computer for most of the rest of the day. Yay! All right, appreciate your business. Stay safe till next time. Use up that stash. Later, taters.